Hey guys. So I know I just did a video on like molds and stuff like that, but I just got these in the mail and I wanted to show them to you. They're absolutely gorgeous. So these are from a company Mary Joy Coleman from Ojoy Creations told me about. Her name is, well, its name is Zuri, I believe. And it's www.zuri slash, not slash, but hyphen inc.com. And this one's called the Butterfly Dance. So it has these two butterflies, which are very pretty. So I've made those two already. I've made all of them. Then I got these two here, which there's one. There's the other. And then I got this really, really big one that I've done here. Which, let me grab that one. I'll show it to you because it's really pretty. I'll just grab the ones close at hand that I've made. So here is this one here. And I still have to trim up some of the edge. I got something on it, but oh well. This one here is from Butterfly Dance. She doesn't have a huge selection, but what she does have is beautiful. She has some horses and a dragon, stuff like that. This one here is, I'm going to make another one of these because I like this one. This one's also from Butterfly Dance. So these two come on one mold, like that and like that. This is this big one, and it's like 4 by 6 by 5 by 9 by 4.3 wide. So this one is pretty gorgeous too. This one took, I would say, close to 3, maybe a little over 3 ounces of clay, and I did it with an ecru and white marble, and that's what I'm going to remake this one out of. And then you have this guy with the, I don't know if this is a moth or a bee type thing, and another, I would say, more moth butterfly looking thing. So I'm going to remake this one here because I really like it and I want it to match. I think I'm going to put it on the same mixed media project that I put this one on. So, and again, I'm going to take my blade and just trim up these edges a little bit. You could also use a little Dremel bit and just shave these little things off later. But for the meantime, now she does have a section on her website that has tips and tricks. And the first time I made all these molds, they did come out really easy the first time. After the first time, I'm having a hard time getting them out. And I prefer to flip them out on a baking tile before I bake it. Now, these are bakeable with our polymer clay temperatures. I think it goes up to 4 something. You're allowed to bake in it, but with our polymer clay temperatures, we'll be fine. But I don't like to bake in a mold because I'm not sure how good of an impression I got. So I like to check it before I bake it, especially if I'm doing like 3.5 ounces of clay. If I have a spot that has a big, that I missed the impression on, I would want to redo it before I baked it. The other thing is, like I said, sometimes it can be hard if you're taking it out raw to flip it out. They kind of get a little sticky. She has some recommendations like cornstarch, you know, like the normal stuff. I'm going to try some Armor All and spray it in here and see if that helps. I'm going to use a wipe just to spread it around. And then I'm also going to use a Q-tip in a minute to get it up on the sides to see if that helps. Because these little type areas down in here, those are the hardest spots to get it out of. Especially I made that bee looking thing and the little legs. So I didn't Armor All it. And the little legs kind of did not want to come out. But again, if you prefer to bake in it, go ahead. I just do not. That's personal preference. The other thing I want to tell you is I was told that you could try liquid clays in them. So I did try them, and I'm going to show you my results just because I didn't get that great of results with the liquid clay. I'm going to squirt some Armor All here and then rub it on the sides, especially in those little areas. I'm going to let this not dry for a second, but kind of. You know, and she does have other things that you could use on her site. This is just what I had handy with some Armor All. because some people use it on texture sheets, and I've done that before too. I tend to just go with water, but I'm down in my basement, and half of our basement's a walkout garage, so Armor All is close by. Other things are not. So as far as the liquid clays go, I use 3 different types just to check it out to see. Now, this is the same as this, but obviously it's translucent. What I was thinking was I was going to paint them like I do for my mixed media projects. Now, this one here, I've tried 3 different kinds. This is Bacon Bond, which worked. They all worked. That's not the problem. This is Bacon Bond. This is the xoxo that comes, xoxo clear liquid poly clay. And then I used the, I'll show you in a second, liquid Sculpey and Pearl, because that's all I had. And this is that one. Now, they all worked. The biggest problem I had is there's a lot of air bubbles in them. So this is the, and I tried different things, different techniques on each one. I still got air bubbles in each one. This is the Sculpey liquid. This is the Bacon Bond. You can see all the air bubbles. That's what those white spots are. And then this is the xoxo. Look at all the little air bubbles. So in the dental field, when we're using impression material, we are taught to squirt out a little bit of like Bacon Bond and then keep the tip down in it. So, oh, I just got some on there. So you're not pulling the tip up and out of the material. You would keep the tip in the liquid material. I tried that. Then also when we pour up molds for people's mouths, their impression molds, we do it out of plaster and different kinds of stones. We use a vibrator and we tap it to get the bubbles to rise out. I tried that too. And then I just tried squirting it in and letting it do its thing. And all 3 of them I got bubbles in. So personally, I'm going to go with regular clay because I get a better impression. Pretty much she recommends, you know, make sure your clay is conditioned, which I just did a marble on this. But I did condition it. And then to do small, kind of like you're doing a Sutton slice, you know, put in small blobs of clay and really kind of work them down into that texture. Okay. Now these littler areas that are hard to get a little ball down into, what I tend to do is make a little sausage. You can either try packing it in with your finger. Ooh. See, that's a problem. It kind of comes out with your fingers. Or what I do is I take a small ball tool and kind of lightly condense it down in there, just like if we were doing a filling on a tooth. The doctor would put in a little composite material. They would condense it down in. Then they would put in a little bit more until it came up to the height of the tooth surface, or as high as we want it. That's what I would do for these little areas. That's what I do. Doesn't mean you need to, but that's what I do on the really, really skinny ones. And maybe that makes it harder to come out of the mold after because I get it all the way down in there. But on some of those, there's a lot of really good detail down in there. So anyways, I'm going to continue filling this. And then just in case you don't watch the other video that I just did where we made a mold, I showed you how some Prima molds, some cheaper molds, and then I made a quick flower. If you don't watch that video, I will show you how I would go about finishing this once I get it all packed down in here. Also, one quick note, if it's making your fingers hurt, because it kind of makes my fingers hurt after a while, you can use a ball tool and kind of tamp it down in with a ball tool if that's easier on your hands to kind of do that. You know, so get it kind of in there and then kind of use a ball tool to kind of mush it way down in there like this. If that helps, because I know after a while my fingers start getting sore. Okay, so it's all down in there. One thing I would ask you guys to do if you're going to buy from this company, when you're purchasing from her, there's a little comment part. Can you say Katie sent you? Katie sent me. Not because she's giving me commission or anything like that. I haven't even talked to her personally. But I feel like a lot of these companies really don't know how much we actually sell for them. Us creators on YouTube. Any creators, whether it's a mixed media or a scrapbooking leader. I don't think they realize how much when you show a video, how much you actually sell for them. Because like Amazon, I can tell when I recommend a product how many people buy it from Amazon, and a lot of you do. Other things like, luckily with Mary Ojoy Creations, I talk to her and she'll be like, oh my God, a whole bunch of people just ordered that pendant that you just did, that design. So it's nice to know, not that I want anything from them, but it's just nice for them to know, I feel like, not just for me, but for other creators. So just say, hey, Katie sent me in the comments. So now that I have it all on, it's bumpy, but I do this twice. So I'm going to burnish it, try to get it pushed down in so it doesn't stick to my fingers. I'm really going to go through and again, kind of try to level the back off and really make sure I get all the details, because he's got gorgeous details down in there, okay? These Zuri molds, and I hope she comes up with more, because these big ones I'm going to use in a mixed media project, which is why I'm showing you that big hummingbird one. And I just ordered a couple more from her, and man, they are pretty. And the good thing is you can spend, you know, a little bit on a mold, not a little bit. I mean, they're like 25 bucks. Don't get me wrong. They're not cheap. Same with like the Prima Marketing or Finnabair molds. They're not cheap, but I can make this hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times rather than finding like a wood piece like I just did the other day, like this big pre-made wood thing. And I only have once, and it's like $5. So, you know, I'm going to get hundreds of uses out of it. That's why I like molds. Okay, so now that I got it kind of pushed down, I'm going to take my blade, if I can find it, and I'm going to shave off the back, because I do want it to be as flat as possible for when I'm gluing this down to a surface. So I'm just going to lightly shave, try to go really parallel to your surface. 1, so you're not gouging in, and 2, so you don't cut your mold, because with silicone molds, even though they're good quality, any brand, you can still cut them. I mean, these blades are sharp, so try to go as parallel as you can. And I just gouged a little bit down in there. I could feel it. And I'm going to want this to stick to my tile, if you're going to do it the way I do it. You want this to stick to your tile. And if you happen to go a little deeper in a spot, just put some back in there. It's not the end of the world. You know, try to get all your excess on the edges, but if you don't, it's fine. We can trim it later. I would rather leave a little excess than go in too deep. Put a little bit more in here. And then after I would cut it like that, I would reburnish. And again, this is a white, pure white, a 50-50 ecru and white mix, and then ecru, just plain ecru marble. And I'm going to reburnish it down in. And you can feel with your fingers if you didn't get it down in deep enough into a spot. Sorry, I know that's probably wiggling the camera a little bit. So get it really burnished down in there. And then when you pull off your parchment, keep it really flat to your surface so you don't happen to pull it out with your parchment. On some dinkier little molds, it can pull out. I should cover that. There's a little deeper hole in this. Right down in here. You see that? And it's very shallow, so, or close to the bottom. So I'm going to put a little bit more right there. Good. And then what I like to do now, this is the hard part, is getting it out of the mold, and I'm hoping the Bake and Bond helps. I like to flip it out of my tile and get it hopefully stuck down to my tile, because I like to make sure I got a good impression before I bake it, especially when I'm doing one that's 6 inches big, you know, like 5 by 6. I mean, that's so much clay. It took almost a pack and a half of the 2-ounce blocks, so it took like 3 ounces. That's a lot of clay for some people. And then kind of fold it out like you would when you do a Sutton slice. These are a little thick, but you can get it out. Okay. And then take a peek at it. So you can see here I have some cracks. Now, I don't mind this in this big of a thing. This is why I like to check it before I bake it. What if that, you know, I made that little angel in the other video, right? What if that crack was in the middle of her face? You know what I mean? Like on this little angel. What if that crack was in the middle of her face? Would you want that? I probably wouldn't. So, you know, or a chip out like this, you know. So I like to check it prior. It's just my preference. I can smooth things off if I want to try to get rid of any little areas, but I'm not worried about those kind of areas. I love these. I think they are so gorgeous. And these two will go kind of on the same project. This one actually looks like I did more of an ecru blend on it. More white than I did with this one. But it'll still go fine. Okay, I'm going to bake it at the recommended temperature for about an hour for whatever clay you're using. And that's pretty much it. I just wanted to show you these molds because I just love them. And I just ordered 2 more last night. I just got these yesterday. And I just ordered 2 more because I think they're so pretty. I ordered 2 more of the bigger ones so I can use them in mixed media projects.